Hi everyone, what's up? It's Micah. I missed you guys so much. I'm very sorry I haven't posted anything in a hot minute. If you guys are new, this is my main channel where I talk about all things music. So whether it be music production, plug-in demos, or just anything that has to do with like songwriting, just you get it, right? If you're interested in that, then maybe you should subscribe and turn on post notifications so you know when I post a new video. And I promise you guys, I will try to be more consistent on here since there's still a lot of current events that are happening, as well as some stuff that I just need to take more responsibility of, in this case finances. So if you make music like me, it can be pretty difficult when it comes to, even creating anything. And in this case, my main focus, it's music. I have definitely been experimenting the hell out of that, where I would just go through all these like creative blocks and stuff. But whenever I have a good day of making music, by figuring out what other like methods I use when it comes to even starting a track, I feel like, that can definitely help me. And I feel like by making this video, I think it'll be a refresher for not just me, but for you guys, if you guys are curious. So we're just gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about ways to start some tracks. And to make it even more fitting, I've listed 13 ways because, hello, branding, Micah 13, my lucky number. Let's just get right into it. So if you guys are interested in just hearing me talk to myself about ways to start a song or to make a song, then keep on watching. One way to start a track is think of like a random phrase in your head. So whether if it's a song title that you're thinking about or a word that's kind of been replaying in your head, or like a phrase where it could be potentially part of a lyric. I guess a good example of that is when I came up with the song title Overburdened. So I actually had a really hard time coming up with a name because I didn't really know what fit, for one, and secondly, I never released a song where it's just the instrumental. I don't have any lyrics in it, and plus it's like an original where I don't like sample anything from like different songs and stuff, which I have been doing a little bit recently, but it was just that song where I just kind of have a rough time trying to come up with a name. And originally it was going to be called Satellite, but then I kind of trashed it because I just thought it didn't really fit. And so then like something came to me and I was like, what is a synonym for the word overthinking? And so I went on Google, I went on thesaurus.com and just typed out synonyms for overthinking or to overthink. And one of the words that popped up was overburden. And I thought, that makes sense with the whole concept or the whole structure of the track, because in the beginning it's just, like a peaceful kind of like orchestral kind of thing with the violins and stuff, where to me just means like you're just minding your business, where it's like, oh, like this is a fine introduction. But then that's when like the tiniest thought in your head, like where either you're like doubting yourself or like your insecurity, and that's where like the overthinking starts. And that's another example for when you think of a random phrase in your head for like a song title or part of a lyric and other stuff. Now, the second way that I also use a bit frequently is to sing or think of a random progression in your head. So whether or not if a random melody comes into your head, or if it's a chord progression or beat structure or some kind of like rhythm or groove, or what's the speed of the tempo, just thinking of a random progression and seeing where that goes from there can also be a pretty good way to come up with stuff. Sometimes like I would use like my voice notes app on my phone, since I forget about a lot of the ideas that come in my head, and so that way like if I record it through my phone, that way I wouldn't forget. If you're really that big into music theory to the point where it's like, oh, like you want to play this song in this inversion of a chord, or like what scale or what key signature that you want to make the song in, you know what I mean? And not a lot of people can do that or have that on the top of their head, but like if you're really that advanced when it comes to making music in general, then that could definitely help as well. The third way is to just literally play around with the DAW of your choice, or For short, digital audio workstation, aka the music software that you use. So whether if you use Logic, Ableton, FL, which are the three main ones that everyone talks about. Yeah, just literally playing around, whether it'll be like some stock plugins that come with the software or the DAW, or whether it would be like synth plugin or like instruments and stuff. If you play the guitar, if you play a piano, don't think about whether or not the track is going to be bad or not. Just go in. Don't set too many limits for yourself. Don't be like me. I mean, I've grown a little bit past that now. So just keep that in mind. The fourth one, which, you know, is a win-lose situation, and I'm gonna go more in depth of that, is listening to other music and just really figure out like what kind of sounds or certain elements within a song by whatever artist that you're inspired by or what genre, etc. Just really like figure out like what certain elements that you like and see what you can do to experiment with that. Whether or not if you like the person's like way of sound design or the lyrics or like any rhythm or melody that they come up with, like any element that you can find that really speaks to you. It can be a little bit tricky though, because sometimes if you listen to too much of the other person's music, or if you listen to such a huge variety of music, it can be a bit tricky when it comes to discovering your own sound and trying to find a way to make whatever it is that you're inspired by and just turning it into your own style, which can be pretty tricky. But as long as you are aware of, you know, how much media or how much music that you're listening to, take some time for yourself to highlight some things that you like or what certain elements you want to experiment with. Number 5, I don't even know if this is something that any artist can relate to, but even like a random conversation that I have with a friend or multiple friends can inspire me. I remember when I was a freshman in college and I was walking with a friend, and it was basically, I think it was like during the final exam, and we were walking out and we were just talking about like some of the people's performances, because in the class that we were in, it was for a singing class, we're supposed to sing in front of our final, blah blah blah, and we were talking about this one girl in particular. You know, the kind of person that would, you know, say a lot of smart ass shit. They talking all smart and stuff as if they know what they're talking about, but when they actually do it, you just kind of feel like a bit disappointed to the point where you start cringing because like they're not executing the shit that they're saying to other people. You know what I mean? She would always say that she knows what she's doing, and if she says that, you know, all this shit where it's like she explains all techniques, meanwhile she goes in and just doesn't like execute it to the point where, you know, she kind of sounds like a smartass. That's what I said. If you say you know what you're doing, then why don't you do it? And that phrase itself, holy shit, that's a good line for a lyric. Stuff like that can definitely be a good way to start a track or a song in general. And I know it can be pretty weird of an idea or a way to even come up with shit, but I promise you, like, sometimes there are gonna be some conversations that you're gonna have with your friends or anybody in general, and sometimes like there'll be something in that conversation that can definitely bring a spark, and that can definitely help you think of a song idea, whether it'll be significant or completely insignificant, however you want to put it. Then that could definitely be a good way to start a track. Moving on, number 6 is writing a song based in the environment that you're in. So like literally just going out. And in this case, it might be a bad idea because we're still in quarantine, you know, you don't want to get Miss Roar to come get you and ruin your life, as well as your family's life, as well as your friend's life. If you're still continuing to practice social distancing, or whether you're wearing a mask whenever you go out, etc., don't be afraid to go out and just write a song based on what you literally see. Before quarantine happened, I remember I would always go to the city by train. When I would just be sitting down, I would look at my window from the train, and I would just see like the different views of like different towns, like whether it'll be the architecture of each building, or if we're passing through a bridge, or if we're about to head right into downtown with all the skyscrapers and stuff. If I'm in a coffee shop and I would see, you know, what's around me, like looking at like the interior design of the coffee shop to, you know, the outside view. You know what I mean? Just looking at like the world around me or the environment around me everywhere I go. That can also be inspiring. Like, I remember my little sis and I, we actually like filmed a video of us going to the Shed Aquarium in my old main channel, where I will link that right over here. I remember like bringing my journal with me because I was thinking about maybe if I come up with any ideas for lyrics and stuff, then I could definitely write that down in my journal. And it was also around that time where I felt the need to write more, like literally write more, because a lot of the times I would just type a lot of my lyrics in my notes app on my phone or my Google Drive, etc. And I just thought, you know, it would be cute if I just write it down. There was this like area where it faces Lake Michigan, and there would be like these like big ass stairs. I wrote a song based on, you know, what I was seeing, like seeing Lake Michigan and just using Lake Michigan and the water as a metaphor. With that example in mind, I think that when it comes to, you know, looking at the environment around you, or when you decide to, you know, go out and write a song based on where you're sitting and what you're seeing, I think that could definitely help you. And as well, just like, you know, going out and travel that way, it can also not only help you like stay creative and motivated, but it can put you in a perspective that you might never would have thought of, especially when you're in an environment that you're familiar with or an environment that you've never been to before. And I think that example can definitely help a lot. Moving on to number 7, collaborating with friends that can help you, especially if they're like outside listeners or if they know a lot more about music. That could definitely help. So whether if you're asking for feedback, like if you're stuck on an idea, right, it's important to, you know, get other people's opinions and just ask them, what do you think it needs in the track? Like, do you think it needs like a new melody, or like what do you think I should add or take away in this song? And so that way you can get other people's opinions, so that way you don't have to keep relying on your own opinion on the track. Not only you can like ask your friends or your outside listeners or your producer friends for feedback, but maybe you can collab with them. Ask if they want to work on the track with you, or see what they can do or what they want to add and stuff like that. I think that will definitely help a lot. Just having like an outsider's point of view on what they think is good in your track, if that makes sense, and you know, what could make the track better. So I'd suggest, you know, asking people you trust and just, you know, hearing what they have to say. Number 8, trying out other hobbies that might interest you. Don't limit yourself into only just doing music, okay? Because then you're gonna go through a whole entire cycle of you feeling like you have to depend on one thing and one thing only, and then you're gonna overthink, and it's just keeping yourself from, you know, having the potential that you have. As long as you keep persevering and as long as you keep, you know, creating, then one day you're gonna find yourself and your music will take you to many places you've never been before. Don't be afraid to try new things, because maybe those new hobbies can definitely add to inspiration when it comes to creating ideas. For example, I just started reading again. If you guys haven't seen my vlog where I talked about some books I've been reading lately, you can click on the card right over here. I just got inspired to reading again because, for one, I have all this free time because we're still in quarantine. And not only that, I just feel like it can give me more inspiration on the way I write lyrics or the way that I write in general. And also not having to depend on my phone all the time whenever I go to sleep. Social media can be pretty exhausting. And so reading a book and putting yourself in another person's world and a different perspective and just using your imagination can be another big factor, or can be one of those solutions that can help you to get the listener's attention. And it's the same way with reading. One of the things that music and reading have in common is that it tells a story. So whether if it's the music production or the lyrics to, you know, the descriptions that the author uses, or like the situation that the character's in, like the characters, the scenery, all that stuff, all those are important, and it can really grab your attention because it puts you in a whole other world. By applying that into the way I write my lyrics can also definitely help me when it comes to creating ideas or to just create some form of structure where it has a beginning, middle, and end. So number 9, it's basically the same thing with 8, except one of the ways that I get inspired, like not everyone can relate to this, but just looking at like anything like visual. So if you saw like a TV show or a film or some like graphic design work, you know, like any like album artwork that just really moves you in a way to, you know, even create a song. Before I got way into music, I was actually inspired with cinematography. I love just like the color grading, and I love colors and how they complement each other, and just looking at like different angles with like the camera and stuff. Like I just have a huge love for like music videos, photography, graphic design, and just like color theory in general. But sometimes like whenever I make a song, I think about like what I want the music video to look like. What colors am I thinking about when it comes to playing around with this track? What kind of like angles or what objects do I want to use, or what props I want to use for this track that, you know, creates like a huge like symbol or like a new form of meaning with the song itself. It's like just stuff like that really gets me going when it comes to creating ideas. Like I love it when I think of a song idea and I can think of a music video that can complement with that. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that, you know, get me inspired to even work on a song, sometimes finishing it. Moving on to number 10, using your emotions or how you feel at the moment or in the past and putting it into the track, whether if you want to write lyrics relating to how you feel or just through like instrumentation or production. Sometimes like whenever I listen to a song that I made, I think about like what kind of feeling I want to put into it based on the notes or the chord progressions that I use. Sometimes like when it comes to like playing with minor chords, I can think of something very like mellow or sometimes like melancholy or sad, but sometimes like I could twist that around and create this kind of like different meaning where I could sing a lot of like positive stuff, but like the chords like are still like sad when I'm talking about something that makes me like happy, and vice versa, where it's like I'm playing all these like really happy sounding chords, meanwhile I'm talking about something that's like very deep or sentimental or just depressing or sad. You know what I'm saying? So number 11, experiment with a genre that you might not be really comfortable with. In this case, when I made the song Coraline, I experimented with mixing like hip-hop / like rap with rock / metal. I want to have that kind of like eerie, spooky feeling, and then mixing that with like 2 different genres, because like why not, sis? Like period. You know what I'm saying? Push yourself into, you know, creating things while also learning how to be more versatile when it comes to working with different genres, with different styles, so that way you don't feel like you have to work on the same thing over and over again. And it'll just be not only be a good way to create ideas in general, but to also like keep yourself from putting yourself in so many limits that you shouldn't feel the need to do. Don't be afraid to try new things. As mentioned previously, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. Number 12. Ooh, we're in the second to last one. Write or make a song based on an experience you had in the past. Any kind of experience, okay? So whether it'll be something that's sad or makes you happy, any like emotion or any like important event in your life that changed the way you see the world or changed the way you see yourself, that could also be a really big inspiration, because not only it could make a good song, but it can also help you grow as a person. Because, you know, as an artist myself, I put so much feeling and put so much of my time in writing songs that I feel is genuine to me. It really shaped the way I am today. It really helped me find a voice, which is something that I always told myself that I never had, because I felt like anything I say was wrong or that was just insignificant, that no one would care. But over time, like I just learned to be more confident with myself, and I think without music I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be, this comfortable in my own skin, I wouldn't, even admit to myself that I even have skills that, would consider me as talented. Speaking your truth and to express yourself and to learn how to express yourself is honestly a muscle. Like, a lot of people are still scared to, be their true selves based on the environment that they're living in. And with writing music and to even create any form of art in general, that should be that kind of spark for you. So that way you can teach other people out there, whether if they're young or whether that they're old, that you do have a voice. Music can really shape you and to help you find yourself. And I just love the fact that with all the songs that I've wrote and with all the songs I've put out to the world, it really helped me to not only be myself, but to not be afraid of myself. I know this is all cheesy shit, but please bear with me, okay? Just please bear with me. It honestly has definitely shaped the way I am today, and it really helped me express myself in the way that I never would have thought I'd be able to experience or feel. And it just really helped me find a voice of my own and to really help me be confident and to know that my voice matters, and I want to speak for those who are too afraid to speak out. I make music as a way for people to feel as if they're not the only people out there that feel a certain way. We live in a big ass world where we forget that 7 to 8 billion people live on this floating rock. So it's impossible for you to say you're the only person that feels a certain way, because there's always going to be somewhere in the world that is in the same situation as you are and that know how you feel and that know what you experience or that can relate to what you experience. You know what I'm saying? You're doing whatever you can despite all the shit that's going on, which leads to my last point. If you can't think of any ideas, if you just feel like you're on the verge of giving up because you feel like you can't think of anything, that you feel like all your ideas are shit, trust me, I've been there. Been there, done that. It's a sucky feeling. Please do not be afraid to give yourself a break, okay? Put yourself first, okay? I know that sometimes it can be really hard to think of all these ideas where you see people that you look up to and you just feel like there's nothing you could do to create anything that's cool or unique or original or just all that shit, because there'll be points in your life where you just feel like, damn, why can't I be that? Why can't I be as badass as this person or that person? But let me tell you something, okay? They work their asses off to find their own sound, okay? One of the main reasons why some of these artists get really, really big is because they're unapologetic to be themselves. They express themselves through music. They put all this time, they work their fucking asses off to figure out what suits them, what style suits them, what builds that kind of foundation of, what their style is. They didn't start from nothing, okay? They put a lot of time in their hands to figure out what works for them, what doesn't, what inspires them, and what people or which artists that they look up to and what they get inspired by. All these artists that, are big right now or that are popping or popular right now, they pretty much go through the same damn thing. It's just that they have a bigger audience. If you really think about it, all these artists, it doesn't even matter if you're big or small. We all go through these creative blocks in our lives where we feel like we're not doing enough if we can't think of an idea straight away. I know that some of my friends, what they're trying to do is that they're trying to post monthly so that way they can grow an audience. But in my case, I can't do that. I really just take my time into working on my craft, at the end of the day, I am my own person, all this shit that I've been doing is just by me. It takes time to get to point A to point B, and a lot of people forget about that, myself included, because social media can be a fucking bitch to where you see all these people just going on tour and have these really expensive handbags and live in a mansion and it's just all that shit. Sis, cut yourself some slack, okay? You're gonna get that success at some point in your life. You just gotta continue to be persistent, be consistent, and just always remember where you started and just don't beat yourself up. I've been there, okay? Trust me, I've been there, and it fucking sucks. There are gonna be times that you're gonna be hard on yourself because you feel like you can never think of anything good, and that's okay. We all go through that shit. So it's important for you to know your worth, for one, okay? Know your worth, okay? You're doing whatever you can, and that's what matters. So why are you beating yourself up when at the end of the day, you're working at your own pace? And that's another thing. We all have various different ways of learning things. That's why I listed all these 13 things, okay? There are so many ways that are more than 13 ways of, creating music in general. They can definitely help you. It's just that you just have to understand that you need to take your time, okay? Be patient, take your time, understand that you are just doing whatever you can to find yourself, and we're all going through different paths in our lives, and that is okay. We all go through that. The only person that's stopping you is you. That's what I have to realize too. No matter what you do, you're always gonna have a different outcome, and it's fine. It's just part of being human, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to just not have ideas from time to time, We're all gonna go through that, and it's fine. It's okay. And as long as you're not hurting anybody in the process, and as long as you're continuing to stay genuine and to stay true to yourself, as cheesy as it sounds, I promise you, things will be worth it in the long run. And I know I've been talking way too much and saying the same shit, but I just want to reiterate it over and over again because I want you to know, okay? That's how much I fucking care. That's the end of this video. Hope this helps you or gives you a peace of mind in any way, shape, or form. If you want to see more content like this, or if you even made it this far, thank you for taking the time to hear whatever comes out of my mouth. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to see more content from me, you can subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications so you know when I post a new video. You'd also follow me on my vlog channel, which again, I will leave in the description as well as the card, whatever there. And if you want to follow me on all my social media as well as some music streaming links, I'll leave that in the description as well. Just letting you know, I just released a remix about 2 weeks ago, and it really means a lot if you guys go check it out, which I'll leave the fan link in the description below if you guys are interested. That's all I have for today. I love you guys so much. I really do mean it. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Black Lives Matter. We're not gonna forget that. We're never gonna forget that. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.